She had only just joined our church, this new friend, Judy. I barely knew her, but I admired her quiet manner and her dedication to spiritual practice. She brought meditation and centeredness to the rest of us who really struggled with the monkey mind and the internal noise. It was only 2 days after my father had died that Judy sent me the poem Kindness by Naomi Shihadnai that we have used in this service today. Back then, I did not know this poet's work, just as I hardly knew Judy herself. And as it turned out, neither did I fully comprehend what kindness was. I probably still don't entirely know, but I am learning. The word kindness literally means to treat someone as kin, and it originates from an Old English word that means natural or innate. I want to believe that kindness really is in our nature as humans. I want to believe that when we're fully human, the default setting for us in being truly human is loving kindness. Our Christian scriptures and the Hebrew Bible as well resound with that truth. The truth that a kindly life is the way to live like the Holy One, like God. Jesus said that the first and the greatest commandment is to love God whose very self is merciful and full of righteousness and loving kindness by nature. And the second commandment, Jesus taught, is like it. We must love our neighbors as ourselves. And that loving kindness in Christianity called agape and in Buddhism metta mean at their core that we have a soul commitment to the highest well-being of all people and of all the creation, everything. Everyone, even one's enemies. A compassion and commitment, a conscious choice, a practice of envisioning the highest well-being for all. What I'm learning in these days is what the great bodhisattvas and the prophets and the poets have taught us for centuries, that, as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, you cannot do kindness too soon, because you never know how soon it will be too late. And over my life, I've also come to believe that what His Holiness the Dalai Lama taught, which is that kindness practiced now and not delayed is the purest religion, is actually true. And what I find so beneficial about that knowledge right now and that description of kindness during this particular time is that I feel empowered by it. Being kind is a choice. It is a discipline to be cultivated, and you and I may invest our life's energies in kindness. We can work at it, get better at it. For it rests upon the notion that we choose to understand the world as sacred and every person as bearing the imago Dei, the image of God. And to choose our God nature is not about whether we like the person or not, whether they're part of our circle, whether they deserve it. It's a spiritual choice regarding our own hearts, regarding our own lives, who it is that we want to be ourselves. Choosing kindness reflects the notion that our compassionate Creator who lives within us and in all the creation is inviting us to participate in the ultimate healing and recreation of the world. And that if there is an antidote to the pandemic of hatred that is infecting this world, it seems to me that this agape, this commitment to the highest well-being of all, is the source of that healing. And from that source, we seek to enliven love in thought, in word, in acts of kindness, in cultivating compassion, But when you and I choose to limit our kindness to those people who are like us, or those people who are nice, those people that we believe deserve our kindness, have earned it in some way, then you and I are limiting our soul's growth, our own soul's growth. And we're stifling the Spirit's breathing in and through us and recreating the world. But here's what was new for me when I first received this poem, and even more so new for me right now. And that is a realization that I invite you to join me in examining our own hearts in these days of immense suffering and immense spiritual opportunity. Before my dad died, I had losses in life, but I had not before that experienced the hollow nature of kindness that this poem describes. The emptiness from which kindness sometimes originates. I had never known such emptiness of soul that became for me the true nest of kindness. No, I have not ever curled up in that particular nest before. The rawness of anxiety and awful grief, you may know that. Awful anxiety and painful, suffocating grief. You may never have known it before, but maybe you are experiencing it right now. So many of us are currently enduring the highest anxieties and fears of our entire lives. Maybe you're doing okay right now, but you have had this empty nest of grief as your dwelling place before. Maybe you remember how it feels to have grief just break open your heart. And also, may you remember the kindnesses that have been offered too. The kindnesses that come unbidden, offered by other people and gratefully received. That's where the revelation came for me. The poem says, before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. My friend Caroline, years ago, had as her email moniker, Patient Faith. And since she was profoundly such a spiritual teacher in my life, I knew that she had them both, patience and faith. It was from the shadows of her suffering that she emerged time and time again, a new creation, a kinder, gentler person. Her patience hard won, but filled with a gift that then and now touches everyone who knows her. Once Amelia Earhart wrote, "A single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions, and those roots spring up and make new trees." Today, in the midst of the reality that you and I are facing right now, I invite you to consider the acts of kindness that have thrown out roots in your life. Those that have nurtured you into a stronger tree of life. Sometimes I forget to be grateful for them, honestly. And yet I rest every single day in their shade. Those trees of kindness. Don't you? And so I decided to give it another try. the spiritual practice of kindness, to keep working at it, to see if I can get better at it. Spirit is always giving us new opportunities, not just to be ourselves, but to be kinder than that. I want to be kinder than I've ever been on my very best day. I want my heart to be more open, warmer, more patient. Maybe in this time to develop a really deep spiritual practice. And I invite you to join me in that practice, to work at that in your own life as well. So I invite you to start with me right now. Let's close our eyes and take those deep cleansing breaths again. And another. And now I'd like you to see in the eye of your heart someone that you love very deeply. I invite you to envision them happy and safe and healthy and at peace. And now I invite you to wish the same for someone you do not know. And now wish the same for the earth and all the creation to be safe, healthy, and at peace. And now I invite you to wish for your enemy, to sincerely see that person right now, safe, happy, healthy, and at peace. And breathe. And when we leave our meditation and see each other in the world or on the screen, we can practice seeing each other's face as the face of the beloved. Not just a face, but one where the lines are, where there is hidden a history of joy and of struggle, a face behind which there may be a soul resting in the nest of emptiness. What if you and I spend this time of the pandemic seeking love and happiness for the many hearts all around us, letting go of judgment, breathing deeply and seeing all the creation as God sees us this day, whispering kind prayers for the people near us in the grocery store, driving along the roadway, for the birds and the water and the glorious sky, and holding the best healing intention as we put on our masks and go out the door and send the energy to those who are alone and suffering, so that their strength will be renewed, believing that we have an impact through the energy that never dies, that always goes forth through the universe. What if you and I are more mindful of the words we speak, kinder, gentler? Do we ever lose by practicing more kindness? I think not. Being both human, kind, human and kind. Taking life just one slow day at a time, one call, one smile, one little note written, one email sent, one smile that goes beyond the mask and makes it to the eyes. Kindness can help people get through. You know how I know that? Because I have been the receiver of such kindness. And so have you. Kindness is love incarnated in human form, nurtured in gratitude, formed in emptiness, realizing that when we ourselves were most broken apart, someone was kind to us. Zen Buddhism teaches that when we have cleansed ourselves thoroughly from self-centered absorption and negative responses, then true kindness arises naturally. And finally, out of the emptiness, that kindness becomes the rock upon which our lives stand. It's a process, though, I've noticed, learning loving kindness by way of sorrow. We have come by way of sorrow, emptiness, gratitude, and blessing. Because this practice does seem to result in gratitude and blessing. All true spiritual practices, I think, ultimately are based on kindness. Sincere, without self-serving interest, encouraging words, smiles, displays of emotion and concern, words and deeds that originate from the emptiness of suffering and from kindness given and received. There's an old story that's told of the Zen gardener. This person did not look different from any other gardener who came into the marketplace with their vegetables and fruits and flowers. That gardener just mingled there with everybody else. But you know how you will recognize the Zen gardener is that wherever they have been, says the old story, withered trees burst into bloom. When you and I devote ourselves to kindness, then wherever we are, suffering in this withered world is reborn in some small way into new life. So don't deny your sorrow and the sorrow of others in these hard days. But when you're sitting there with your sorrow, make friends with it. I'm going to, because I think it's going to be here with us for a while. We might as well get to know it. Do like the poet says, do the spiritual work. She tells us God's words. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that will make sense anymore. Only kindness will tie your shoes and send you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you have been looking for. And then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. Will you pray with me? May the God of hope, the God of light and kindness, fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that you may abound in joy by the power and the kindness of the Holy Spirit. May it be so for you. Go on the kind way. Go in peace. Amen.